Now, we've got a very special guest with us here today. He's an ex-military sniper, a secret security agent for the British Intelligence Agency, and a digital forensics expert. We've got Ben Owen with us here today. We're delighted to have him here with us.
Pleasure to be here.
You've worked for many years as a cyber intelligence agent, and you've headed up many covert operations. Now, companies hire you to stress test their environments. They look at what sort of social engineering hacks, what sort of cybersecurity risks they've got. What are you finding in the marketplace? What are companies seeing, and what are you seeing in the marketplace?
Good question, George, and thank you again for having me here. I think for me, the way we look at this and the way we assess the vulnerability of an organisation, the first thing we would look at is the digital footprint. Essentially, the bigger the digital footprint, the bigger the risk towards that industry. We have to step into the mind of the adversary. Everything we do online, we are mimicking what the attackers are doing and what the hackers would be doing to that organisation. So if we can understand how that attack would take place, we can be much better placed to give the information to that company about how to stop it. What does it look like? And this is what that's going to be. Now, what we're looking at is reconnaissance of the people. So we have the technical infrastructure, we have the physical infrastructure, security infrastructure, but where we're looking at is the people that work in that organisation. What's the low-hanging fruit? What does that HR department look like? What does the cyber team look like? And really, an attacker wants the lane of least resistance, they want the low-hanging fruit, and they want money, essentially. So if we look at it like that, we're much better placed to give that consultancy that we need.
Now, we know that social engineering is probably the most popular way of gaining restricted access into organizations. Now, I'm sure the techniques have kind of evolved over time. What are social engineering hacks looking at like right now? Are they introducing new methodologies?
What we're seeing at the moment, George, is actually quite frightening because we've got the rise of artificial intelligence. Now, days gone by, social engineering attacks might have been from a DM on Facebook, asking about the football team you follow. But actually now, when we're looking at deep fake videos, we're looking at audio cloning. So not only can they position themselves to be a very believable individual, someone that you might think you know, spoofing a phone number, WhatsApping you a message, actually now they've got all of these other tools in their armory, which is actually quite worrying, and something that we're really telling businesses, you need to be aware of this, and you need to provide that awareness in your workforces, because really it's about a human tricking a human to then do the technical attack. And that human trickery is becoming easier for the adversaries, and that's what we really need to look into at the moment.
So are there any tailored techniques as well? Do they specifically target individual roles or specific industries when they're doing social hacks?
That is another great question, because there is no solid answer, I guess, to the question. Like I mentioned previously, attackers want to go for the lane of least resistance. So it might be that, yes, traditionally, attackers would go for a HR department, because HR departments are downloading resumes every day. They're dealing with invoices, lots of attachments to emails, so it's an easy pickings for an attacker. But ultimately, it comes down to the digital footprint. If they identify someone in a non-traditionally attacked department like HR, but they have a huge online footprint with lots of things that the attacker can leverage, essentially that's the one they're going to go for. Again, it's the easy pickings. The people, the biggest digital footprints are the people that are unfortunately being targeted mostly at this point.
So what's your advice for companies that are now having to deal with all of these new challenges? The techniques around social engineering can be very difficult to counter.
It can, and unfortunately there's no silver bullet solution to it, but one of the big bits of advice we always give is, if you can get rid of it, i.e. online. If there's bits of information online that you do not need, it might be a dormant Facebook account or a dormant social media account, it might be blogs or micro blogs you set up 10 years ago. If you don't need it, get rid of it. The things that you do need, lock down. We're talking multi-factor authentication, we're talking password managers, but we're also really providing counsel on how organisations can press upon the staff about the use of their personal digital footprint, because that's so important, and it does bleed into the corporate side of security, and often an area that businesses don't want to address because they don't want to come across as oppressive. But actually they really do need to address this, and there's lots of ways that can be done through some cool team building events, some seminars, keynote talks, but yeah, that's the area we're really specifically looking on at the moment to enhance their security.
Ben, thank you so much for coming to spend some time with us today.
Welcome, George. Thank you very much.
Hello everyone. I'm absolutely delighted to be joined by Corien Vermaak, the Director of Cisco's Cybersecurity Portfolio for ANZ. Corien, welcome on board.
Hi George, thank you very much for having me.
So Corien, Cisco is and continues to be the leader in network infrastructure, undisputed. Growing up as a network engineer, there was a famous saying that says, you never got fired for buying a Cisco switch or putting a Cisco in a critical network infrastructure. I guess the question is, and seeing the amount of investment that Cisco is making in the security space, where do you see the cybersecurity portfolio playing and overlapping with the networking space?
George, I always find it so refreshing when I speak to people that really know the brand. And you said a few things there that is absolutely critical. The first being Cisco has absolutely led this environment for many years and have the intention to continuously lead, develop and innovate within the network space. But what we've also done is we've now coupled that with our investment in security. So what does that mean for our partners and customers? One, it means that we are not moving away from our roots. We are not moving away from what we do best, and that is networking. The way we see the future is that security is an integral part of how we transact information. And that transaction layer is ultimately the network. The network is going to go through reiterations. It is now at a space where it's software defined everything. And we have arrived at a place where we say, but security becomes the anchor of how we bring those things together. So you would hear language come out of us as Cisconians that support this ethos of secure networking, secured access. In everything that we do, we embed that security element. But we have also arrived at a place where we can raise that up through our current investments and bring an additional feature sets to our loyal customers from a networking perspective.
Speaking to a few partners and customers, they can see the investments there. They can see the writing on the wall that Cisco is taking security very, very seriously. And a lot of my early adopters have now made the transition in enablement and growing their security portfolio with Cisco. But there's other partners that are kind of on the fence. They're kind of waiting to see where the market's going and then following. I guess my question here is, Corien, what would you say to those that are kind of on the fence waiting to see? What's your message to them?
I think the first part is that these partners are already rendering services to our joint customers. And quite possibly a lot of these services are delivered via Cisco technology. They're already supporting network infrastructure. Now, our joint customer base is demanding security. Why not do that with Cisco if you are already the incumbent in the networking space? That would be the first thinking pattern that I would invite people to really push themselves on a little bit. The second part of this is, it goes without saying that we have the intention to become the largest security conglomerate across all of our vendors. We have seen amalgamation across the large vendors from a security perspective, and Cisco has absolutely got the intent to be one of those conglomerates. And that's an exciting time, because becoming the largest security vendor goes through different investment pieces. We are seeing a lot of acquisitions happen. We are seeing massive investment from a people perspective. We are pulling people across the industry with knowledge bases that we critically want to bring this portfolio to the next level. And lastly, we're seeing a big focus on how do we simplify this for our customers, and the investment around really bringing a simplified solution to the table. So the investments that we are making in this portfolio are not single-faceted, they are well thought through and they are intentional. And that brings me to the point that I am extremely humbled and excited to be with Cisco at the moment.
I guess the next question would be, for those that are now going to be taking security portfolio through to their customers, what's there from an enablement perspective? What's available for them? How do they go through that journey? What's the journey like for them?
That's a really important question, and something that's quite close to my heart, as Cisco has always been a channel-led organization. Through this, we have extremely mature practices in how we support partners. But what we also do is we enable, through these investments that I spoke about, we enable our partners, like Dicker Data, to really help address us and mature the space for a partner perspective. The value that you guys bring to that relationship is pivotal in how they can really scale and grow the business pragmatically. A lot of our partners don't necessarily have the immediate capability to do a lot of the security support, and that's where you guys add a tremendous amount of value.
Corien, I'm certainly excited about the journey ahead of us. Thank you so much for joining us today. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me.